Hi, you guys. Welcome back to another episode of Soulful Reset. I am your host, Coach Salida, and this is brought to you by YouCan'tClipMyWings.com. I am excited. I might not look like it, but I am. I am very excited about so much that's been going on. We are going to definitely talk about some things. Today, I'm going to do a free coaching session. And let me tell you something. Sometimes with coaches, if we talk, let me see how to say it before I get to that point. So, what I want to say is today, some of the things that we're going to be talking about, we're going to be talking about love. We're going to talk about a little bit about, we have this year coming into an end. I know this is November, it's not December yet, but I think if we start thinking ahead of time of what we seem to want to happen, I think we can start putting things into motion, right? Once we start manifesting. Remember, manifesting is not just saying it, okay? It's actually putting the work behind it. So, with us getting started, we're going to talk about love. We're going to talk about our work. We're going to talk about our life purpose. And we're definitely going to talk about prosperity or money or abundance. Um, I love the word abundance. It seems like it's talking about a lot. And we're going to talk about what are we looking for in this year coming up. Some of the things that we are truly trying to see that's going to take place for us, right? So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk a little bit about we have an upcoming webinar December the first Monday. I'm trying to start doing them every first Monday of the month. And this is like our legacy activation. Every month we have something different that we need to be activating, right, in our journey. And I think this goes right along with what I'm saying as far as what are we going to do in our future? What do we have planned for our future? So I think this is going to work out. And how I'm kind of setting this up. I want it to be an intimate setting. So I've already sent out, I have one more email I have to send out um, to invite someone. These are small, intimate groups that I'm doing. So if you don't get an invitation right now, and I didn't ask for your email address, that's fine. It's all right because it will be later on. I just want these groups to be, I want people to feel comfortable, like when they come on this show. I want people to feel comfortable. I want them to feel like it's all right to talk about certain things. And I think if I could like create a community that way instead of having a whole bunch of people in one spot at one time, that can be overwhelming, especially for me. I used to could do that. I can't do that no more. So I do smaller crowds. Okay. So we're going to cover that. What are you looking forward to in the future? I'm also going to talk a little bit from my books. I told you guys I've written some ebooks, um, and you can check them out on You Can't Clip My Wings / shop dash two is the link to our and I think I put the link over in the description. And you guys can check out the digital download loadable books that I'm talking about. Now, some of my books are not downloadable. Some of them you actually have to have them purchased and then sent to you. Um, but majority of them is a download. Um, I think I got into the downloading more now because it's so easy and it's not a lot of hectic and people don't have to wait on something. They have to wait for me to download it. That's it. But if you go to the website, it'll download itself once it's purchased, right? So we'll talk about that. But some of the books that I didn't do it that way, I actually wrote and I mean, they're not digital, is the In Search of You book and the workbook that goes with it. Okay. This book is actually on Amazon. I think it's still on Amazon. You guys, I write books, and let me tell you something. Sometimes I don't even keep up with my with my inventory. I'm terrible. Look, you guys, I'm a terrible business. No, I'm just kidding. Um, but yeah, it's on Amazon if you want to purchase the book. I think the book is $14.99 and the workbook is $10.99. I think. But you can go on Amazon, go up under my name, Salita McCall. For some reason, it's so hard to find my book. But if you go up under my name, pull me up as an author, and you should see it under there. It should be still there. And also, another book I wrote. He wants to be called king by any means necessary. Um, the the chaos of the American dream. So you can check that book out over there too, as you know who that's about. Um, Definitely check that book out too over there. Look, it never gets old. It never gets old. Um, so look, so we're going to go ahead and get started. First of all, I put over here in the chat section over here on Talk Shop Live, the prompts already, the journal prompts are already there if you guys want to look at them. But let's go ahead and I want to start out with the pledge in this book. Okay. I want to start out with the pledge. Okay. And the pledge is in the back of this workbook. Here we go. So now, remember I said we want to talk about what are we looking forward to next year, right? So I think we could start from here, and I think we could definitely start off. We could do affirmations, or we could do pledges, whatever fits you. I mean, you can make up your own pledge, right? So this is what I have it. I have another pledge I put in my other book that I wrote called "How Does Your Garden Grow." I also put a pledge in there too. I don't know why I don't have that. I know where it's at. It's on the bookshelf. Okay, so it says here, this is the pledge. I, whoever you are, have decided to put a hedge around myself to protect my well-being. Hello, my emotions and my sanity. I will put myself first without feelings as though don't deserve it. Let me say this again, because let me start over. Hello, Miss Dixon. Welcome to the show. Welcome to Soulful Reset. And I was just going over what we're going to be talking about tonight. I was saying that, we're at the end of the year, and this is the time that we start talking about what are we expecting out of 2026. And I said I wanted to hit on some points like what are we talking about in love? What are we talking about in prosperity? What are we talking about work? What are we talking about life purpose? Those things that I want to us can, kind of talk about a little bit. This is a coaching session, free. I'm going to try not to act like a therapist, because I'm sorry, I have a little bit of therapy in me, but it's not. It's the difference between being a coach and a therapist. They're not two the same. Please don't get it wrong. I mean, get it twisted. We're not the same at all. A therapist is licensed. A coach doesn't have to be licensed to do the work that they do. Okay, they can be certified, but they don't have to be licensed. And I am certified. Okay, I want you guys to know I don't do this and throw titles out there haphazardly. I don't. I am licensed. I am certified. Excuse me, to be a life coach. Okay, I did all the work to make sure I have that in play. All right. Um, so I was talking about a pledge. I have two different pledges, but I don't have the other pledge with me. It's called from my book, How Does Your Garden Grow? I have a pledge in there. I wrote at the end of the book. And now I'm talking about the one in the In Search of You workbook. I put a pledge in here. Um, and I put a pledge in here, and I want to kind of start the show out talking about the pledge, creating one. We have a new year coming in, and I think this is something that we can definitely talk about, right? So I said the pledge says, I blank whoever have decided to put a hedge around myself to protect my well-being, my emotions, and my sanity. I will put myself first without feeling as though I don't deserve it. I will I will check on my own healthiness of my emotions in all situations. I will step away when needed to ground myself. I will tell myself how important I am to me. I will either accept or change anything about me that I am uncomfortable with. I will comfort myself and I will give myself time to heal, think, love, and cry, and not feel as though I am not deserving of any of it. I will demand respect and I will not be devalued by others' view of me. That's the pledge. So think about it from this standpoint. When you say that pledge, right? When you say that pledge, right? You're saying that as a pledge to yourself of how you're going to be able to take care of yourself. You know, when you get married, I pledge my love to you, right? That's what the partner says to you, right? I pledge my love to you. I pledge my life to you. Well, whenever, and then when you think about pledging the flag, right? So when you think about putting yourself first, right, and pledging to yourself, that's very, very important and very significant. And you're being specific. You're talking about you. You're not talking about anybody else. You're literally talking about yourself, right? You're making this promise or this pledge to yourself, right? Um, what I could do, if you want a copy of this pledge, I can get it to you, right? So we're gonna question. Can I have the pledge sent to me? Yes, I can have it. Yes, I can do that. Definitely, I can do that. Um, so um, so in the book In Search of You, and let me tell you, I wrote this book, and it was called A Guide to Finding Yourself After a Life-Changing Event. Um, when I wrote this book, I was going through some things. Okay, a lot of stuff was going on in my life at that time, and my therapy is through writing. One of the things that I do when I get to those motions, when my emotions are like that, when I'm going through some things, I write. It's a comforting thing. So I wrote this book called In Search of You, right? This is actually a picture that I took because I also do photography. And this is a picture I took, and I made it into a book cover. And then this is another picture I took, and you see her. This is actually my older sister, and I did this almost in the dedication to her because she has cancer. And when I wrote this, I was kind of thinking of all that she went through. You're welcome, sweetie. What she went through, and that's kind of what, when I said life changing thing, that was the whole premise behind this whole setup. Um, and I thought she symbolized at that time strength and going through something and change your life changing on you so quickly, and you're surviving it. And she's a beautiful lady. Um, and we did a photo shoot together. They came out so cute. Oh my God, they came out so cute. Her and her daughter who passed away. I actually got a photo shoot with her too. But yeah, so we're going to talk a little bit about, since I told you we're going to talk about love. We're going to talk about money. We're going to talk about life, purpose. What is your life purpose? We're going to talk about work, your career, right? And then we're going to talk about prosperity. What do you see when you look in the crystal ball? What do you see for yourself in the future, right? Are you seeing, let's first start talking about love, okay? When I say love, most time people always think you're talking about relationships. No, I'm actually, and I should clarify this, is that I'm actually talking about you, loving yourself. Think about it from this standpoint. Let's use a sunflower as a perfect example, because I used to do sunflower seeds. A sunflower, right, grows into a beautiful yellow flower, right? And inside that beautiful yellow flower is some seeds. Now, what is the use for those seeds? Not only are they useful to grow other sunflowers, they're also used for nourishment. Okay, sunflowers are good for protein, iron, has all different kinds of um, benefits to eating sunflower seeds. You just can't eat a lot of them because it will, especially if they're salted, they will definitely bring up your blood pressure. Okay, but they have a benefit to them, right? So I look at us as that sunflower seed, right? So if I'm giving myself love, okay, and I'm showing up for myself every day like I'm supposed to, and I'm not talking about love in a selfish manner. I'm talking about love in the way of feeling good about yourself, taking care of yourself. Um, and I'm not always talking about, and a lot of times we get caught up with the outside. No, I'm not talking about the outside. I'm talking about the inside. I'm talking about feeling happy for yourself. I'm talking about breathing exercises. I'm talking about praying. I'm talking about meditating, healthy, the mental and emotional, internal healthiness of you as a person. That's what I'm talking about. I just gave you an example of sunflower seeds. The seeds they grow inside, they grow the flower, right? So when they're plucked out, they have another use. So what's coming out of that seed is another sunflower, and which um, turns around and it has more sunflower seeds, and all those sunflower seeds have a benefit to them, right? So if you look at it that way, what is your benefit after you've cleaned up inside? And what are you pushing out? What are you pushing out? You're pushing out love. You're pushing out appreciation. You're pushing out gratitude. You're pushing out being there for people, right? Those are the good things that you're able to push out when you are healthy, mental and emotionally healthy. That's what you can push out. Being a nurturer, being there for people who need you, right? Those are the things that comes up out of you. Saying great things, love, saying lovely things about people, right? Taking care of people, just being there, nice gestures. All those things come from not you being angry and mean and mad about everything. That comes from the good side of you, the inside of you that you worked on and created a way that when I give, I'm feeling good about giving, right? I don't mind giving. I don't mind doing. I don't, you're feeling that way because you know what? Because you've cleaned up inside, right? You've cleaned all that up. So when I'm talking love that you love yourself. Because I wonder this. This is what I wonder, and I wonder it from the standpoint. See, I'm having a hot flash. Let me turn this light on. Boy, there we go. So I'm talking about, and we do it all the time in relationships. Let's talk a little bit about relationships. So we go into relationships expecting a lot of things, right? We're not expecting them from us. We're expecting them from the partner, the person we're with. We're taking all the things that we're supposed to be doing for ourselves and we carry it, right? Like a burden, and we throw it on that person that's loving us. We throw it on them and then we demand them to produce those things in themselves for you so you can feel comfortable, so you can feel good. Now, all those things that you turned on and gave to them, right? Those are things that you have never given to yourself. Think about it. Think about it. Those are things that you've never given to yourself. So you're going to upload them and just throw them on the other person. And when they can't produce those, right, you're mad, you're upset, you're arguing. Well, hold up. Did you give did you give those things to yourself? Any of those things? Did you give any of those qualities that you're demanding that other person to hold? Did you give them to yourself? Did you hold yourself to the same standard that you want them to be at? Are you responsible? Are you accountable? Do you truly love yourself? Have you done the shadow work? Have you done the mirror work? Have you done the praying? Have you done the gratitude, the affirmation? Have you done all those things? But you expect for that person, because you throwing that on that person that you're with, to carry all that. You gotta love me. No, I don't. I ain't gotta do nothing that is not meant for me to do. I'm not doing it. No, because you know why? And see, that person be so enthralled in you, right? That they're not really like, wait a minute, I'm not receiving that same level that she's expecting or he's expecting out of me. And that's where the problems start to come in. That's where the communication breaks down. In some relationships, I'm not saying all relationships, but in some relationships, the communication, because they're still trying to figure out what you want me to do. This. You got a checklist for me, but what about you? Have you done all these things? Have you taken care of all this that you're trying to put on me? So when we expect people to love us, we got to do one thing. We got to love ourselves first. We got to love us. So my question is, when we talk about love, are we putting in what we want other people to pull out of them? And this is why I was saying about the sunflower. Its seeds have benefits. So as we pluck the seeds, the sunflower seeds, and people do what they do with them, make sunflower oil, right? All these different uses, those are benefits the sunflower seeds have. So if you're growing in yourself, right? You're growing, what are you pushing out? You're beautiful on the outside because a sunflower is a gorgeous flower, right? You're beautiful on the outside, right? But what's going on inside? What's going on inside? And I don't know a lot of the videos I've watched. Um, I see a lot of, like, it just automatically catches me on a lot of young women. I don't know where this mentality comes from, but some of these young ladies, they just feel so privileged because of their outer appearance. They feel like the world, they don't have to work for nothing. They don't have to do anything. And all you have to do is put up with my nasty attitude because I know no one has taught them yet how to work on themselves. In lots of times, what I've noticed being around a lot of beautiful people are very insecure on the inside because they built their whole lifestyle off of what they look like. They built their whole lifestyle off of what they look like. And you think that's something that's still not going on. No, it is alive and well. It's even alive and well in grown-ups, not just younger women, but grown-up women. I mean, women up there in age, mature women. And they go through life like that. I'm not saying they're not being benefited from it. Look, I'm not saying that. I am just saying being beautiful on the outside and not loving yourself on the inside. You love your outside because it's beautiful, it's awesome, it's gorgeous, it's sexy, and all the men looking and everybody's admiring it, how beautiful you are. But your inside, it could be dark as night. It could be dark as night. And you have to figure out what love is to you. How do you visualize what love is to you? How do you see love? And I'm talking about not love on the outside, I'm talking about love in the inside. How do you visualize love in the inside of you? Because that's where it starts. You cannot expect someone else to love you the way that you're supposed to love yourself when you don't even have the faintest idea of what it takes to love yourself yet, because you don't, some of us don't even really know ourselves, and we're adults now and we still don't know who we are. And you know what, it's all right to be unsure, and it's all right to be able to ask questions to get the answers you want. If you are unsure about who you are, it's all right. It's not nothing that you have to feel bad about at all. But you have to know that. Nobody else, nobody can read your mind. You have to be able to look yourself in the mirror and list off the things about you you love. And I'm not talking from the outside. I love my eyes. I love my big nose. I love my big lips. I'm not talking about the outside. I'm talking about the inside. What is it that you love about yourself? I love that I'm resilient. I love that I'm smart, that I'm intelligent, that I can communicate. I love that I have an empathetic heart. I love that I am responsible. I love that I am accountable for the things that I've done wrong. Do you hear what I'm saying? I love the fact that I'm constantly trying to fix what's wrong with me on my emotional level. I love that I steady research and to find out how I can be a better person. I love those things in me. You get that. You get that rhythm. Those are the things you have to say to yourself. I love that I'm working on things that trigger my emotional balance, right? Think about it from that standpoint. That's not external, that's internal. I love that I know how important it is for me to pray and meditate. I love that I know how important it's in order for me to grow that my manifesting definitely keeps me in the space where I can continue to do what I need to do. I need to put action when I need to put action behind things. I love that about myself, that I've noticed that I have to do that. I love the idea that I can actively listen to other people when they're talking, when they're explaining things to me. I'm not in the point where I cannot, when you're thinking, when you're thinking of these things on that basis, right? You have to make sure you're being truthful to yourself, okay? You have to know that you're being truthful to yourself, right? So you have to do your shadow work, like I said. So those things that I just said, you can say it with your mind open, with your heart open, and being sincere with yourself, because it doesn't matter if you are not sincere with everybody else. You have to understand, you have to be sincere and serious with yourself. Okay? And this is not trying to turn you into a perfect specimen of a person, right? This is not, because you're gonna, let me tell you something. There are flaws all the time, and you're going to mess up, and you're going to find yourself reverting back. And it's all right with that, because you're not perfect. I wish we would never have used that word in the way that we think that we're going to be perfect. We're never going to be perfect. We're not built to be perfect. And no matter how much people say practice make perfect, that's not true. No, it don't. Practice makes a master. That's it. At whatever it is that you're doing. Doesn't make you perfect. Practice and repetition makes you a master at something. And that's why I said I wish that saying practice make perfect was never ever said. I wish it was never said, because we literally are indoctrinated with that phrase. No, it just makes you a great master at something, a particular thing. You have a master liar, right? A master cheater, even though, they don't want to say that. Because guess what? They have plenty of practice to do those things over and over again. And I'm not bringing those up in a way of talking something negative. It was just when we talk about love, that type of love, that's what comes up. You're lying about something or you're cheating. That's what all, I mean, that's the norm. Everybody thinks that's what everybody does. When reality is, no. A lot of people don't cheat. A lot of people don't have a desire to cheat. And that's lost on a lot of people. They don't have the desire to do that. Everybody's not built to feel like they got to do a whole bunch of dirty, low down stuff all the time. No, there's some real good people out there. And it's just hard for them to communicate with real bad people all the time. That's why a lot of relationships don't work, because you might have a good person and a bad person together. And that good person is hoping eventually the good stuff will rub off on the bad person. But no one has told that person before, hey, you know what, those things you're doing ain't right. So you wind up with someone with that you're with that that are bad. And then before you know it, if you don't watch it, you're gonna find yourself in that same boat. Right? So we don't want to be there, right? We don't want to be in there. So talking about, let's get back on talking about um, love, loving yourself, understanding what your self-worth is, right? So I'm going to I wanted to, let me see what I want to say to you guys. um I broke down the word fear, but I think let me make sure that's what I did with this. Um, no, let's talk about this. Let's talk about the three R's. If you want to know what the three R's are, and again, this is talking about you. So the three R's is restoration, resolutions, and resiliency, right? So let's start with, and we talked in the book, I had talked about restoration earlier, but I want to bring it back up because I brought it back up in the book, talking about what does restoration mean? What is restoration? Restoration is the the act of restoring something back to what it was. Most of the time when any type of life changing event takes place, something is being lost, right? Um, Not necessarily always being lost, but at when I wrote this book, or when I came to the when I used the premise, this was something being lost. So if you've lost something, now everything is not restorable. Okay, so let's get that right. Let me say that everything is not restorable, but you as a person, your inner self is restorable, right? And the restoration or the restoring comes from healing. Okay, all right. So when I talked about restoration, I was talking about the ideal that this also can go along with life purpose too. Okay, um, restoring what became absent, something that was removed, right? So when you say something has been removed and it's restorable, okay, so you have to keep in mind that thing can be restored. Certain things will never be restored, but certain things, like, for instance, your power, your motivation, those things can be restored. They can be brought back. They can come back, and they can come back in a more powerful way for you. It depends on how you see yourself healing, right? Um, how you see yourself moving differently, right? Those things can. And it takes some time for us to do that, right? It's not something that happens overnight. So that was one of the reasons why I used the three R's: restore, resolution, and resiliency. Okay. Um, so restoring, like if you've been in a negative funk, right? And everything emotionally has been like all over the place, right? You've been confused, you've been um, just like all over, your mind has been all over the place, your emotions have been all over the place, right? And you know that it has made you feel different about yourself. You're not sure anymore, right? You're downing yourself a lot, right? And you're feeling bad, and you don't really like. There's no specific thing that is making you feel bad. It's just like everything is just like making you feel like, oh my God, you're really thinking of, man, what the hell, But then when you realize this, right, and you pay attention to what's going on with you, then this is the time that you can start working on restoring and removing those feelings away from you. But the act has to be you. Nobody can come in. People can come and comfort you from the outside, right? But nobody can go within you but you to figure out what is going on. What is triggering me to act this way? What has got my feelings all over the place? It is up to you to find that out, right? That is your way of finding out how can I restore myself back to feeling good, feeling confident, feeling empowered. What do I need to do? And when you know this is also a form of love for yourself. This is a form of you looking at yourself and saying, wow. Mm. So now I know what I need to work on. Now I know what I need to do to make me be the old person I was, where I was happy and feeling good. Nobody can do that for you. But if you stay in denial that all that is not going on, you're going to be in this forever. You're going to be in a cycle. You're going to be in this cycle over and over and over and over again, and nothing is going to get right. But we don't recognize when we're doing this. We don't recognize our emotions and how our emotions are triggered by other things that creates the madness that goes on inside us. And please do not hesitate to get any type of mental health that is available for you. If it's beyond you and you cannot come to a consensus of what's going on, get help. I will never tell anybody, don't sit down and talk to somebody about your problems. I will never tell anybody. That would be definitely against what I do. 100% against what I do. Because there might be some things going on that you have no control over. You might think you can control and you realize you can't. You need to let someone else come in and help. Because you only can do so much as a person. And knowing yourself, because some of us really don't know ourselves, and I said that earlier, knowing yourself is just a way that you can kind of direct where you want to go. And it's also a way that when you get a therapist, that you can talk to the therapist and tell them. But you got to know yourself, okay? And that's important. So going back to the ideal of restoring when, for instance, if someone was to talk to you, say some bad negative things about you. And some people, believe it or not, some people are hurt worse than other people when someone says something negative about them. Some people literally get crushed, like it does something to them, like it changes them. When someone says something negative about them. Because lots of people can't handle that. That's why you have to be careful what you're saying to people, because you don't know what they're going through. You don't understand how low their self esteem is. You don't understand how depressed that person is. You don't know what that person was thinking. You don't know if that person goes home every day and has a bottle of pills next to their table, their nightstand, or have a bowl full of pills, right, by their nightstand, trying to decide whether or not should they do this. You don't know that. So that's why we have to sometimes be very weary of what we say to other people. Because I think, like we say, you one paycheck from being homeless, that person could be one pill away from dying, committing suicide. So we have to be careful what we say. And that's why I said, mm, that's why I said, when you know yourself, you already know those are things that you're not going to do. You're not going to talk to people like that. You're not going to make people feel bad. You're not going to be a bully, right? You're not going to let narcissism come in and take over. You're going to be that responsible person. You're going to be that. Everybody's not an empath, okay? But you're going to have some type of sympathy within you to not to always flying off the handle and being mean to people. When you love yourself, you're not going to do that. And when you love yourself, you're not going to tolerate anybody else to come and be disrespectful to you. Now, I don't even want to use the word disrespectful or saying something negative to you. You're not going to really entertain that because you really don't want to, but you're going to know, okay, that's what they say. Somebody said something, and Miss Dixon is a witness. For instance, I was on a post on Facebook, and I was talking about some guy who got caught with some pills or something, right? And he was an older guy. And I made the comment that you this old, y'all still drug dealing? I mean, is that y'all almost close to retirement age? I said something to that effect. So one young man came in and started talking about the size of my nose. But what he didn't realize was that doesn't bother me. And I said that I'm very proud of my big nose. Now, let me tell you this. Back in the day, if he would have said that, I would have crumbled. I would have crumbled. I would have been so upset. I would have been so down on myself. Because when people used to bully me, the two things they talked about, well, the three things they talked about was my big nose, my big lips, and the color of my skin. Yeah. If I had never grown, even at my age, if I had not matured emotionally, mentally, internally, that would have crushed me. That would have literally crushed me. Because, and also think about it like this too. Now, this is a perfect example. Remember, I told you about shadow work. Remember, I told you about triggers. That is a trigger that I ignored because I could have went in on him because that's how I would have reacted to what he said about me. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. You're right. Sure do. That's right. They sure do pay for our lips all the time. You're right. To get our lips. Yep. So if that would have really, that would have just crushed me. I would have like, I'm not getting on the internet anymore. I'm not getting on that. That wasn't even necessary. He had to, and I would have went off and all that. But no. But that's the mature level because even though I know words can help hurt you, they can. I'm not saying words can't hurt you, but there's words that can't hurt you if you raised yourself up emotionally. If you matured emotionally, words should not bother you. And especially when it's something you already know. Yeah, I got a big nose. I got big lips. Yeah, yes, ma'am. You could have, but yeah, I exactly. I'm glad. But you know, you guys were right there. Miss Dixon was right on it. She was right on it. Miss Dick, but my son took it to a whole nother level. My son had to go there, but I didn't because any other you have. And when you get there, y'all, look. Let me tell y'all something. It it is a process. Okay, it's not something that is going to happen overnight where you're going to change. It's not. It's a process, and it's a constant practice to not to get angry about it. It's a constant practice when people say certain things about you. You cannot fly off the handle about everything. You can't. You got to figure out how not to do that. And that's where your emotional maturity comes in and your emotional intelligence kicks in. Is when you just like, okay, all right, I'm not going to say nothing. I don't care. Sometimes you just have to laugh stuff off. It's not really disrespect. It's just somebody making fun of you. That's not disrespect. We get it so mixed up with what disrespect means. Somebody talking about your looks is not disrespect. Let me say that again. That's because we are so she's well, he going to do what he yeah, that's right. That's right. So get this. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's talk about that for just a second here. Understand this. Somebody talking about the way you look, how you wear your clothes, how you wear, if you're like me, wear wigs or don't wear wigs, how you wear your hair, how you wear your makeup. That's not disrespect. That's just somebody disagreeing with the way you style yourself, your fashion sense, the way you look. That is not disrespect. That is not disrespect. I'm sorry y'all hear my dog barking, but she does that sometimes. Um, do you understand what I'm saying? That's not disrespect. Oh, he disrespected me. And you ask him how. Well, he talked about my shoes. Okay. So he talked about your fashion sense or your choice in shoes. That's not disrespect. He just or she just didn't agree with what you were wearing. That's not disrespect. And we keep equating that with somebody talking about you. That's not disrespect. Y'all gotta realize we get on these bandwagons and this indoctrination, and we just run with it, and we ready to fight everybody. We ready to fight everybody. We want to fight, fight, fight. Well, she talked about my weed. Y'all, it's not that. It's not disrespect. Talking about your hair. Do you know how many times people talk about me and my hair and my clothes and my ah, Dad don't. You'll get there. I promise you. You will get there. If you don't, then you need to get some help to get there. Because you don't, it's not a necessity because people are going to talk about you. I don't care if you're doing good, if you're doing bad, if you're helping somebody, if you're mad at somebody, people are going to talk. Okay? People are going to talk. And keep in mind now, we talk about people. Don't and see we're good at trying to exclude ourselves from the fray, right? We good at, oh no, that wasn't me. No, but I've sat and had conversations with you and you've talked about people. I'm just saying, I'm just using that example. So you got to remember, you're upset with someone talking about you, but you talk about other people. Does that make sense? Hmm. Does that make sense? Yeah, you're right. You're right. So think about it from that level. When we're talking and getting upset when people say something about us, what have we said about other people? And did we have to say it? Was it a necessity to say it? Because a lot of times it's not. Lots of times we get with people and we start talking about people because everybody else is talking about people. You got to move around with friends because some friends are not good friends. They come off as being good friends, but they're not. All you got to do is watch them, how they move. That changes everything. All right. So, getting back, and I didn't want to get off, I didn't want to get too much of a sidetrack talking about that. But I want you to understand that you do have to have some semblance of maturity. You have to have some semblance of emotional maturity. Because even our young ladies, they get online and they start talking about each other and then meet up and want to fight. Make that make sense. Now, you both were going back and forth. So you were giving and they were giving. You were taking and they were taking. So there was a exchange, an even exchange, right? You meet up and now there's another even exchange. Y'all want to fight. So at the end of the day, this is my question. What got solved? And the first thing comes out of someone's mouth is they disrespected me. The first thing that come out of my mouth is how? I'm gonna ask that question. How did they disrespect you? Well, they said this, and somebody, Pam said this, that they said that, and I'm gonna ask again, how did they disrespect you? I'm gonna keep asking that question because you gotta make it make sense to you, not to me. You gotta make sense to you what you think was the disrespect. Or, I mean, because all of us have our own, we all have our own meaning of disrespect, I guess, nowadays. I guess, I don't know. I guess there's no right or wrong disrespect meaning out there, I guess. I don't know. But someone talking about you and you calling them names, you talking up under their clothes, because women do it. You talking about what's going on in their home. You're talking about their family members. I don't know. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's me. Maybe because I'm no longer in that mode of wanting to do all that. To me, is a lot of bad energy. And to me, no matter how good you think you are, right? You're not good in this situation. Well, I need to take up. I need to take up for myself. Okay. All right. That's what you need to do. Taking up for yourself is fighting somebody. Okay. I don't know. Maybe I'm just older and I start looking at things differently and I've observed a lot. And I think there's a lot of unhealed people out there doing a lot of unhealing things to themselves, right? And not getting the help they need to resolve that issue, not trying to restore themselves to that happy person they used to be, to that satisfied and grateful person they used to be. And trauma does that. Trauma sometimes make it very hard for you to come back to that person. And I will say that trauma can do that. Trauma can change you completely, where you'll never be that person. And you will always be the sad, depressed, mean, bullying type person because you you won't allow the healing, or you don't know how to get the healing. We go to church, right? And it was said at one time that the most depressed people are people that are in church. And so I thought about that. I thought about that because now that goes back to practice makes perfect. Because we're taught in order to go to heaven, we have to be what? When a lot of people left here and we're saying they're in heaven, we're not guaranteed that they're in heaven, but we assume they're in heaven, and they had never changed. Because you know what they kept saying? God is not through with me yet. So that gave them a free pass to not to really change. And we always say God gives us grace, right? So what we do is we keep doing those things and then ask for forgiveness. We keep being in the group with the mean girls. We keep gossiping and backstabbing people who have been very nice to us. And we keep doing all those ugly things, right? We just keep doing them, right? So how do you think you get restoration out of that? You can't get restoration out of it because you're not trying. Because you've got a backup plan. Your backup plan is for God to give you grace and forgive you of your sins, right? Grace and mercy is what they say. So we watch people continue doing the things that they do. The gossiping, the backbiting, the fighting, the disloyalty, the cheating, the lying. They continue to do it. And they leave here doing those things. And I am not one to say you go to heaven or hell. I'm not that person at all. All right? I'm just saying. That's why I never did like that phrase. Be patient with me. God is not through with me yet. I cannot stand that phrase. And I think it's actually a song, but people literally say that. And I'm an observer, and I just watch you. You say that, and I watch everything you're doing when you say that. And you're still doing those things that you say that you're not supposed to do. Not me, I didn't say it. You said you're not supposed to do it. I'm going by what you said. I'm just saying. There's no restoration in that at all. It's just a lack of accountability and not taking total responsibility of what are your actions that you've taken. And you're not trying to change really. And that's what I'm trying to get at. You're really not trying to change. It's a great cop out. It's a good thing to hold on to put it in your mind and to indoctrinate yourself that what you're doing is going to go away eventually. And I just tell everybody, God is not done with me yet. Just be patient. It's a cute little thing some people say when they're being uh, sarcastic or mean. They'll say that. I'm just saying. So the concept don't work for me. That don't work for me. So let's get back to what we were talking about. Um, so I gave an example in the book where I talked about what restoration was and the end result of the restoration that I I I I found out within myself. So I basically said, for example, I felt good about myself. I was self-assured. I was confident, right? I was strong. I trusted myself. But when um, a life-changing trauma took place, um, I stopped having those positive feelings. Okay. I felt trapped. Okay. I felt lost. I was, excuse me, I was angry at myself because I felt as if it was my fault, right? I no longer had control over myself, right? Um, and for many, many years, I felt this way. And I was depressed and I did not know why all of this. See, that's why I say when you really, 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 really look within yourself and you see that a lot of things that have taken place in your life was not your fault, but there are things that happened to you that were your fault. You could have prevented them. Well, I was thinking opposite. I was thinking that it was all my fault, no matter what it was. Well, it wasn't my fault. And I had to go through a lot to get to the point. And this went on for many years. This wasn't not overnight. This wasn't a couple of years. This was for a long period of my adult life. I felt that everything was my fault. And I blamed myself, right, for the different events that traumatized me, right? Okay. So I was disappointed. I wasn't together. I was like living a life where I was going through life blindly, just trying to, and that's almost like the survival mode we go through. That's where I was at. I was just surviving. And I didn't really want to look inside. I didn't want to do that. I just needed to survive. I just needed to get up the next day. I just needed to keep moving. I just needed to keep being functional, right? Being a functional person. And I did that for many years, right? Until I literally finally realized that it wasn't my fault. It wasn't my fault. I didn't do anything, right? What I didn't realize was restoration was right there. It was waiting for me. It was watching me. It was like, okay, you can get through this. You can do this. You come from strong people. You come from resilient people. And you're going to bounce back. And I bounced back. That's what I'm saying when I say restore. Restore came and said, you're going to bounce back. All of this you've gone through, you survived it. Look, you're still here. Look, every event that was traumatic to you did not stop you. You kept going. The sleepless nights, the crying, the depression, all that. You lived through it. You got through it. You survived it. So now I want to restore back to you your original, not your original self, because once something happens to you, you're not original anymore. But what he brings back to you is that semblance of love and joy and happiness that you so greatly deserve. Because a lot of times, y'all, let me say this, a lot of times y'all have no idea what someone's been through until you hear their story. I am an advocate of sexual abuse. I am an advocate for mental health. I am an advocate for domestic violence. Those things have always been dear to my heart. Always been dear to my heart. Until you hear someone else's story, your story sounds like a fairy tale. And I'm not minimizing anybody's story. I'm not even minimizing my story. But when you hear what other people have gone through, oh my God, you will have a different approach and a different way of thinking when it comes to hearing other people's story. And I learned that. Active listening is so important. Active listening is when you put everything in. When someone is speaking and you're shutting down everything and you're concentrating and you're focusing on what that person is saying. And when you talk, you're not talking to respond to them, you're talking to learn more from that person. That's why I like to ask questions. I'm not asking them to be funny. I'm not asking them just because I can ask them. I'm asking that because now you're saying something that piqued my interest and I want to know more. And I love, I'm an analyzer. I break down things in my mind all the time. I'm an overthinker. So I'm going to overthink whatever you've told me. And I'm going to come up with some questions for you. Because I want to know. Because whatever might have happened to you, whatever situation you were in, what you went through and how you handled it, and if you came out on top of everything, I want to applaud you for that. And you might be saying something I need to hear. And that's why you can't have a closed off mind to everything people are saying. You can't, you have to have an open mind in order to hear what people are saying. And I'm saying actively hear what they're saying. Because most of the time you learn from that. If you're really that type of person who's trying to learn something, you're going to learn from what they say. So when I got to the point where I was no longer that old me, I took back the power that was missing. I took back my power. And I did it, and I was no longer feeling angry about things that I didn't even need to be feeling angry about. That anger subsided, kind of just like went away, right? Um, I lived another day without blaming myself for the incident or whatever, the trauma. I was able to wake up and no longer blame myself. So I was able to restore what I felt was taken away. And it's actually the whole premise behind You Can't Clip My Wings. Restoration came in, and you don't have that power. When I say you, I'm saying that person that I allowed to have that power, I let them drain me mentally, emotionally, physically. I let them drain me. And I let them spend a lot of time in my head and in my heart. And when I say my heart, I'm not talking about love. I'm talking about my anger toward them. You see what I'm saying? I'm not talking about loving anybody. I'm talking about the anger that I let settle in me. I removed it and I restored myself in the process. Okay? So when we talk about resolutions, right? Um, when you use the word resolution, resolution is resolving something. So again, I was able to resolve something within me, right? And that word comes with power, right? That word comes with a punch. I resolved something that was going on inside me, and I decided to not allow it to keep going on because it was mentally and emotionally killing me. Not physically, but mentally and emotionally killing me. And you guys, let me tell you something. I was going to church every Sunday. I was I was in all the activities in church. I was doing everything. And I was still going through. I was still going through. I was praying. I was doing everything. But I was still suffering. I was still suffering. And because of how I start seeing myself, things start changing for me. Mentally and emotionally, things start changing for me. That resolution came. I was resolved. And so now I can move on and do other things, right? And also keep in mind, your mindset is so important when you're doing these things, when you're going through the cycle or when you're going through the steps of trying to figure out what needs to be done. Your mindset has to be ready to be changed. Because without a mindset change, nothing can be done. You got to have that mind ready to move, ready to say, you know what, this is not what I want. This is not how I want to live the rest of my life, right? And a lot of times, lots of people don't get that. They don't get to the point where they're able to resolve or get the help that they need. And they will kill themselves. They will commit suicide. They will leave here never having to get those problems resolved. And that's the sad part, is they never was able to get that certain thing that was eating them up resolved. And that's sad. Now, let's talk resilience. Okay. Remember, I told you guys, we're going to move on. We're going to get down. I'm almost there. So let's talk resilience. Resilience is the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties, the toughness of things, right? Getting through and bouncing back. That's resilience. It happened, I'm back. You know what I'm saying? Whew, I got knocked down, I'm back. You know, you ever see those clowns? I don't know if you guys, I might be a little bit old, but I don't know if you ever had those little bouncy things that went back and forth, the little clowns, or we had one. Bozo the clown. And you know how when you hit him real hard and he wheels back up, that's what resiliency is. Bouncing right back up. No matter what's hitting you, you're going to bounce back, right? And actually, it's good that you do that, but sometimes resiliency could be there, but you're not ready to bounce back up. It's sitting there waiting. Just like I told you, restoration was sitting there waiting. Resiliency could be sitting there waiting and you're not ready. You're not ready to bounce back up. You bounce back up when it's on your time, and that's all right. There's nothing wrong with that. That's maybe what you need to do because you want to come back ready. So yeah, if it takes you longer, it took me close to over 20 years, okay, to completely, it was over a 20-year span. So I'm not saying that's going to be for you. I'm just saying sometimes that's what it's going to take. You're not just, oh, it's all right, everything's fine, when in reality it's not. No, it's not. Because eventually you're going to crack. Your mask is going to fall, right? And you're going to see the real you. And you'll see that you were just faking it, right? You were just faking it instead of allowing yourself to do the healing that needs to be done. Okay? You have to allow yourself to do the healing. Okay? You have to allow yourself to do the healing. Okay? That's so important. So that's the love part. I'm going to leave it right there for the love part. And like I said, I wasn't definitely directly talking about relationship love. I'm talking about love for yourself. Okay? How you love yourself, how you take care of yourself, how you nurture yourself, how you comfort yourself, how you hug yourself. Do you know that it's all right to hug yourself? Do you know that? Do you know what it feels like to hug yourself? Anybody's ever hugged yourself? Hug yourself. You know, we are so, we're told not to do a lot of things with ourselves, you guys. It's so taboo to talk to yourself. It's so taboo to hug yourself. It's so taboo to do this with your, it's you. You do what you want with you. Just don't abuse you. That's all. Just don't abuse yourself. But it's all right to comfort yourself. It's all right to talk to yourself. Y'all, I do. I talk to myself all the time. And you know what? I stay more organized when I do that. I know that I need to go write down something. I know I need to go do something. If I don't say it to myself, who else gonna say it to me? I don't have no kids here. I got two dogs and a husband. So I talk to my, I've always talked to myself. This is not nothing new for me. But they say if you talk to yourself, it keeps you more organized. It's nothing wrong with it. When you think about it, if you do something good, right? Who pats you on the back? Who pats you on the back? Who says, "Damn, that was a good thing you did"? You do. So it all rounds back up to you. You take care of you. It's not about being selfish. It's about you understanding and loving yourself, loving you. If we could just get back to that, all this other stuff won't matter, y'all. If we could just get back to truly appreciating the ideal that whatever your belief system allows you to be here every day you wake up. But we spend so much time loving everybody else, loving the grandkids, loving the grandpa, loving the kids, loving this, loving the dog. We don't even love ourselves. We give out all this love. Remember what I told you about the sunflower, right? We give out all these benefits to everybody else and don't give not one benefit to yourself. I don't understand. But that's what we do as humans. That's what we do as mothers. That's what we do as sisters. That's what we do as aunties, as good friends. We give everybody and don't give none to ourselves. And some of us feel like it's, oh my God, love myself? Oh no, I cannot do that. Are you asking me to love myself? Are you asking me to hug myself? Oh my God, you would never catch me doing that. Oh, not me. But how do you give out love when you don't love yourself? How can you give out authentic love to other people and don't give it to yourself. You should be priority. But we do it. We do it all the time. We definitely do that. We will love everybody else, but won't love ourselves. Ooh, that's taboo. I can't love myself. What are you talking about? Loving yourself? Oh my God, no. Okay. So I'm saying to you, in conclusion to the love session, this year is coming in. We have 2026 coming in, and I want you to answer this question. How will you love yourself in 2026? Let me say that again. How will you love yourself in 2026? Now, let's talk work real quick. Okay. When we talk about the jobs that we have, are we at jobs we're working because the bills have to be paid? Or are we at jobs that are going to empower us, make us a better salary, a better way of living? What type of job do you have, and are you satisfied at that job? And does that job make yourself, does that job enhances your self-esteem? Because a lot of us work jobs that's not doing none of that. A lot of us are at jobs that we're so miserable at, and it's become so mundane. And we're at jobs where we have to interact with the public, and we've been at this job so long with no promotions, no awards, no rewards, maybe a piece of party every now and then, right? A boss that's very nasty, has a terrible disposition, has no people skills, right? Probably younger than you, but they're very bullish. And you hate going to that job, but you know the bills have to be paid. And because your mindset hasn't elevated you to the point where you know you can do better, you stay at that job and you give that job 15 years, 20 years, 25 years, 30 years. And you just keep doing it, and you just keep doing it. Never taking an opportunity to change. You are responsible for your own self. So, what you choose for yourself is your responsibility. You're responsible for your own self. This all is about you. So, you have to ask the question, do I want to continue doing this? Does this job make me happy? Am I satisfied with the level that I am at in this job? Is there a potential promotion somewhere for me? Or is it easier not to ask those questions and stay complacent, stay dissatisfied, stay with a negative attitude, come home with a negative attitude, go back to work with a negative attitude because you hate what you do? Or is it feasible for me to get some extra training for maybe a position that's coming open, or go somewhere else altogether? Sometimes people are afraid to start over when it comes to jobs because they've become comfortable and complacent. So they're not going to look for something better, but they're going to stay there and they're going to complain about that very job. And they're going to complain over and over again. And it's become part of who they are because they've been at a job where they've been so disenfranchised, so treated like crap, so just doing the job. So in 2026, are you ready to make a change when it comes to your work? Are you ready to say, you know what? Nah, I'm going to get myself together. And by the mid year of 2026, I'm going to be looking somewhere else. But in the meantime, when I have time, I'm going to do some training. I'm going to learn some new things, get some new skills up under my belt so that when it's time for me to go in around June or July, I'm going to be ready to go. I'm going to have everything in place for me to go because this is not working for me anymore. I'm just saying. Let's talk life purpose. I think I stayed too long on the other one, but that's all right. That's cool. So let's talk life purpose. Do you know what your life purpose is? Do you have a life purpose now? Or by 2026, you'll have a life purpose? Because you don't necessarily have to have one right now, to be honest with you, because you might not know what it is. I used to have people say to me, I don't know what my life purpose is. So I asked them a set of questions. First of all, I asked them, what is it that you love to do? What is it that you do that just gives you chill bumps and flutters around your heart and in your stomach? Not saying you're sick, but butterflies whenever you start doing it. And when you get these butterflies and you feel good and you put everything into whatever this thing is, could be part of what your life purpose is. Or it could be your life purpose. I'm just saying. I'm not talking about anything illegal, y'all, okay? I'm talking about something good. Say, for instance, let's make something very simple. You love reading, okay? And from time to time, you go and volunteer and you read to kids at school. I mean, at the library. Say, for instance, yeah. Okay. And you read so well, other people hear you reading, and they love how you change up your voice and the characters you do with the books. Somebody else hears you, and they say to you, I have a class that would love to hear you reading. Would you read some books to my class? You might not think that's a life purpose, but people continually, word of mouth has gotten it out there that they love the different characters that you do. So other people are getting you to read. Then they want you to read in Sunday school, right? Then they want you to do different things dealing with reading, dealing with literacy. That's not a life purpose that you've been ignoring all this time? Yeah, that could be a life purpose. Definitely could be a life purpose. You just don't know that yet because you don't see it like that. You just know you get excited when you do it, or even when you hear other people do it, you get excited, right? Yeah, simple thing as reading, and it turns into something bigger. Then before you know it, you've got your own nonprofit that's dealing with what? Literacy. And not only you're dealing with children who can't read or who have issues with reading, you're dealing with adults who have issues and problems with reading. It's a life purpose. You don't see it now, but I want you to do this. Write down all the things you love to do. Write down all the things that when you get ready to do them, you get so excited. I'm not talking. Let me let me clarify this because I don't want you to go go over to the dark side. Okay, let's stay over here to the light over here, right? I'm talking about happy things, good things. That's what I'm talking. When you say, "Oh, I'm about to go do this. I am so excited." And you say that over and over again about this particular action you do, this particular thing that you do, you ever thought that was your life purpose? Yeah, that could be a possibility. That's your life purpose, right? It's a possibility. But nobody can give you your life purpose. You have to find it yourself. It's yours, nobody else's, right? Nobody else's. It's up to you to find your life purpose. Ask yourself the question: what is it that gives me life when I do it? What is it that puts a smile on my face when I do it? My heart flutters when I get ready to do it. I'm just saying. It's not just about something you love to do. It's not just something you love to do. It's more to it because it changes your insides. It changes how you feel internally, right? Keep that in mind. When you think about your life purpose, think about that. Let's do this. Let's do this. Because I think this is a real good question. I think it's an awesome question that you have to ask yourself. Let's find, let's dig a little deeper on that one. Okay? Real quick here. I think it's awesome. Real quick here. Okay. I think it's a great question. And we're going to see what we're going to get for an answer. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. So, your life purpose is not something you have to chase down, right? It's something that's already inside you. That's deep. It's already inside you and it reveals itself through patterns and your gifts and your desires. And it's through your pains and your strengths and what you naturally feel called to uplift others. That's deep. is deep. So when somebody asks you, what's your life purpose? Didn't you just hear me say, when you're about to do a certain thing, you feel it in your heart and you feel it in your belly? Hmm? Didn't I say you love to read to people, right? And that makes people feel good, and other people hear you doing that, and somebody says, can you do that with these? Can you do that? Can you do that? And before you know it, you have your own nonprofit organization running a literacy program. Didn't I just say that? You guys, I'm telling you, whatever you want to do, please stop making excuses. Stop making excuses. Let me say that again. Stop making excuses. You do not know how you're hurting yourself. You are hurting yourself when you put excuses in front of things that you want to do for yourself. Do you understand how much of a greater person you will be when you start doing things that make you happy? If we could get away from this fake world that we live in, yeah, this fake world that we live in, where we have to present ourselves in a way where we're always performing. Do you understand what I'm saying? We're always doing some type of performance. When we can get away from that and just really the essence of who you are, the natural, the root of who you are, you will see that's where your happiness has been sitting all this time. If you are not happy, it's because you are compounded with all this fakeness. And I'm not talking external fakeness, I'm talking inside fakeness. I get on a lot of platforms, I get on television. I am me. I don't know how. I'm very good at acting to be anything I want to be, but I am me. I mess up. I get confused. I'm quirky. I'm nerdy to a certain extent. I'm eccentric. I got a smart mouth. I can be very sarcastic. How do I know all those things about me if I didn't study them? I had to study me. I can't take everybody's opinion of me. I have to see okay, what's my opinion of me, right? How do I think of myself? I don't put myself on no pedestal. I don't pretend like I live this big lavish life. I don't. I would be lying. And I'm not going to lie to myself about something as simple as trying to live a materialistic life that I don't have. I don't have it. I'm going to tell you how quirky I am and how eccentric I could be. Y'all don't laugh, don't laugh, don't laugh. This is a funny story, but don't laugh. Don't let me know you laugh. Miss Dixon, don't be laughing at me. Don't put no emojis, laughing emojis. Okay, y'all. Before I ever owned a cell phone, we had pagers, right? And that's why I love my friends. I love my friends. I love my friends. So me and my friend was talking about electronic devices and stuff. And so she says to me, I don't know how we got up on the pager thing. So I think we were talking about cell phones, and she said, "So you have a cell phone?" I said, "No, I have a pager." So she's like, "Salita, do not tell me you still have a pager." I said, "Yeah, me and my husband still have pagers." She said, "You still have a pager?" She said, "Okay, Salita, you tell me this. Who you gonna call? Especially you talking about where I live at, where you live at. Who you gonna call? Who you gonna call?" What are you doing with a pager? I just thought it was fine to have a pager. I didn't know the ideal that I needed to upgrade to an actual cell phone. And we laugh about that to this day. And she is so funny because the way she asked me was hilarious. And from time to time, we'll talk about it and we'll laugh. That was the quirkiness in me. She didn't make me feel bad. She didn't talk about me like a dog or nothing. She gave me a realization, like made a light go off. You can't do nothing with a pager. What are you going to do with a pager? She said, can you call on your pager? That's what she said. Can you call on your pager? I was like, no. Then why do you still have a pager? She said, Selena, get a cell phone. And my very first cell phone was a BlackBerry that I got unlocked on eBay. Y'all, I'm telling you, that's quirkiness, right? I'm I'm trying to be this, and all this time I'm still holding on to a pager. So what I'm trying to say is that is the quirkiness in me. I wasn't hip, I guess to the word we want to use, of cell phones. Cell phones, okay, cell phones, okay. But it was so funny because you got to hear the way she talks and the way she says things is so hilarious. I laughed. Me and my husband laughed. We laughed. We laughed. And our first phones we ever got were Blackberries. So I'm just saying. So that was the quirky side of me. Didn't know. Didn't know. I could have got mad, cussed out, and all that. Wasn't necessary. Just trying to tell me you need to upgrade yourself. Why are you still holding on something antiquated? You can't call nobody on a pager. Who you gonna call on a pager? So the realization, and that to me was funny. And it was me waking up and saying, okay, Selena, you gotta come here. You too far away. You gotta come here. In my little world, I was fine. You know, look, I have a landline. I was fine. If we needed it, we'll page each other. No, you need a cell phone. She was the one who got convinced me, excuse me, to get a cell phone. I'm just saying, I didn't know. I didn't know that people weren't using pages because I be in my little world, no, 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 in my little world until we had that conversation. So I'm just using that as an example of me recognizing the quirkiness in me, right? I can say that. And I'm comfortable with saying that. And I can laugh at myself. That's what makes me where I can't be fake. I can't be all that stuff. I can be, because if I'm acting, I can be fake. Okay. But I'm not acting. And I don't do performances on here. I, I just don't. I'm me. So your life purpose, I think I'm gonna take that and I'm gonna put that. I think I need to put that in our on our page, Miss Dixon. Okay, so now we talked about love, work, life purpose, and now let's talk about prosperity in 2026. If you are not at the financial threshold you want to be at in 2025, you did not make it, what are you going to do when it comes to 2026? And that also, if you work, goes back to when you work. Remember, prosperity and work kind of goes together. So if you decided that you're going to upgrade yourself in the sense of going to school, getting some type of extra training, learning something new, whatever, that brings in more the money part, because prosperity doesn't necessarily always mean money or finances. It could be prosperity in your health, your mental, emotional, and physical health prosperity, right? It could be those things. I'm talking right now about the money part, right? So when we talk about the finances, what are you going to do to make your finances better? And the thing is, you guys, There are so many ways that you can bring in extra money if you wanted to. And I'm not going to get into that because I could tell you, I mean, look, we're not going to get into that, but I'm just saying there are different things that you can do to bring in extra money if you need it. If you're trying to set, you got a goal set, right? And you're trying to make sure all of those things that you want done. If these are goals, what are you going to do to make sure that goal takes place? Or how are you going to complete that goal? And I think, you know what? I think I want to do vision boards with you guys. I think we need to do a 2026 vision board. Let me say that again. I think we need to do a 2026 vision board. And I might do it over on my, I could do it over here, but I can also do it somewhere else. Um, yes, we need to do a vision board. And we'll talk about that. I think that would be an excellent idea. And it would work if you be specific in what you're asking for. Because I know sometimes, you guys, I'm not specific. I have issues sometimes with being so specific in things that I want. I'll be all over the place. So if you pinpoint what you want 2026 to look like, right, it can be possible. And if it's things on there that needs to be done, like actions need to be done behind those things that you have on your vision board, then you need to get to it. Say, for instance, like we just talked about work, right? You want to be promoted in 2026, right? So what you have to do is list all the things that you need to do that is going to get you to the point where you're going to be promoted. Not only should you just say it and act as if it's already taken place, you need to put action behind it. You need to prep it to get there. Like, for instance, and I don't know if I showed these to you, like in my journal, this is my journal. This is a notebook, just a plain notebook. Do you see my vision board here? I just made a miniature vision board on the notebook cover. I say, universe, show me how it gets better. I release any blockages holding me back from receiving love. I invite in an abundance of love from all directions. Enjoy life to the fullest. Purpose fuels passion. Mm. Everything always works out for me. Opportunities are handed to me. That's the front of my book, right? So, this is the first page of my book. You see what on the first page? That says, go for it, just do it. Reflection is not perfection is not needed. See all that money right there? See that money, money, money? See all that money, right? It says, I will be, okay. Mirror work, shadow work is needed. I don't work for money, money works for me, right? Upgrading my podcast was one of the things I was doing, right? I need to mind my money more, all right, right? Um, um, my work is not done. I need to do what I said I was going to do. Okay, that's the vision board right there. And then this is my miniature vision board for the month of September, right? And this is just a notebook, you guys. That's what I'm saying. It's very inexpensive. This is for October. This is what October looks like. This is my vision board for October. And these are my notebooks. And I go back and look. Something like reschedule, deadlines, stay focused, clear up my mess, right? Take plenty of breaks. Make sure you're doing that. And you see, I said take plenty of breaks. Do you see this chair right there? See the chair right here, right? It says miracles happen to me every single day. It says, then I see my tarot reading down here, right there, right? So all of this is my vision board. Excuse me. And then, I'm in the month of November now. Um, so this is the month of November, and it's a lot of affirmations on my November. See? I will be the best Salida I can be. This month will be the month I will show up and show out. I will learn to mind my business that will pay me, right? I hold my head up high because there is no need to look down, right? I am magic and everything on here. I get paid to exist. That's where you want to be. I get paid to exist. So this is for my November, December, and then I'll put together before this month out. I'll go ahead and take my stickers. I love these stickers, you guys. I'm a sticker addict. So I'll use those to do my December. So these are all in one notebook. So I get these 3 binder notebooks. I think this is a 5. Is this 5? I think it's 5. And I use both sides. And I make them out of my yearly notebooks, my journal. And I write everything in here. Okay, so I think we need to do a vision board. Doesn't have to be nothing spectacular, but we can do a vision board. And you can do a digital vision board. You can go into Google Docs. They have different types of pictures in there. You can put it in there and add whatever you need. If you're not into stickers, if you're not into purchasing all that, you don't have to purchase it. If you have a Gmail account and Google has Google Docs in it. You can put one together in there. I'm just saying. I'm telling you, nothing is too hard. We can do it. We can do it. Right? Right? So we're not finished because we're gonna have to get to the end. And if you see on the screen, I'm gonna read the journal prompts for you and the affirmation. So let's see what we got here. Oh, you know what? It won't let me go back down. Oh, this is very different. Okay, it won't let me go back down. So good that I already wrote them down. So these journal prompts that we're going to talk about today, these journal prompts are for gratitude. Okay, so when you write them down, it's for gratitude, you guys. Here we go. No, we didn't talk about the wrap dresses today. That's all right. That's fine. Y'all know where to find them at. But we will be talking about them the next time on Wednesday, for sure. Okay, so here we go. Number 1, what opportunities do you have that you're grateful for? What opportunities that you have that you are grateful for? Number 2, what do you love the most about your job and what you do every day? What do you love the most about your job and what you do every day? Number 3, what's the best thing that happened to you this month? What is the best thing that happened to you this month? What is something nice you have done for another person recently? What have you done nice for another person recently? And the last one is, what are you doing? Excuse me, what are your daily comforts or privileges that you take advantage of? What are your daily comforts or privileges that you take advantage of? That is, and you know what? I didn't write down my affirmation. Oops, I didn't write down the affirmation. I forgot to write down the affirmation today. I apologize. I apologize. Please, please don't beat me. But it should be, but it's in the chat, so you guys should be able to see it. This won't let me roll down. This is weird. Oh, wait, wait, wait. I'm sorry. I talked too quick. Yeah, I'm still learning Talk Shop Live. Um, it's a little different from all my other platforms. Let's see here. Here we go. Here we go. So the affirmation is, I know whatever I put my mind to, it is done. Let me say the affirmation again. I know whatever I put my mind to, it is done. That rounds it perfectly out. And we're going to talk again about 2026 coming up, because we're going to have to go back and I don't know if I can reiterate all this again, because this is a lot of information. And I talked about a lot of stuff when I was only supposed to be, I should have stuck to the point. But I think we did a wonderful job. And I hope you guys definitely take what I say each and every time you guys come over here and hang out with me. I appreciate everything you guys do. I thank you so much. From one person to two people to 10 people to 18 people. I'm happy. I don't get caught up on the views, babies. I don't. I enjoy the idea that you guys are checking me out over here. Definitely. Um, we have, okay, so we have a webinar coming up. It's called the LAR webinar, which is Legacy Activation Ritual webinar, coming up on December the 1st, which I'm going to try to do them the first Mondays of every month, right? And these webinars are done specifically for small groups of people. So I'm telling you this because I'm going to eventually ask you guys for your email addresses so we can set you up for the December 1st Monday, right? So if you're interested and you want me to have your email address so that I could send the invitation to you, definitely let me know. Okay, so we have one coming up in December. I am trying to keep my classes small and more intimate, okay, so that people will feel comfortable speaking out on anything that we're talking about, right? Because I know it's hard to get people to communicate, so I definitely want to do that for you guys. It's going to be, it's the first one I've had in a long time. Yeah, the first webinar I did, I don't know if I told you guys this, but the first webinar I did, nobody showed up. And let me tell you something. I did that webinar. Yeah, I did that webinar. It was actually a Zoom webinar, because that's what I do. Doesn't one monkey won't stop the show, two monkeys won't either. If nobody's, zero monkeys won't stop the show. I still did it because in the back of my mind, keep doing it. And I keep doing it. I keep doing it. When people don't show up for anything I do, I keep doing it. It's done. It is done. That's how I feel about it. Because when I have a task in my head, I have a mission, I'm going to complete that mission if nobody shows up. If I got to do the mission by myself, I'm going to do that mission. That's how my brain works. And I don't feel shame. I don't feel bad. I don't feel none of that. Because what I do is a life purpose. And behind my life purpose is passion. So it doesn't matter. Not that I don't care. It's not the thing I focus on. You know what I'm saying? It's not the thing I focus on. Because if I focus on that, I'll never get nothing done because I will be always looking at the numbers, right? So you never feel good enough. And you never feel like it's enough if you concentrate all the time on the numbers. So are you doing it because you love doing it? Or are you doing it because it's a performance? And I'm not saying numbers are not important. I'm not saying that. I'm saying in certain circumstances, when it comes to me, they're not important. My my life purpose is to touch people, is to wake people up out of this slumber and for them to wipe their eyes and get back to themselves. Get up, shake it off, and get back to yourself. That's what I like doing. If I shake up one person, I'm great. If somebody goes back and watching, they didn't watch it originally, I'm great. I'm gonna still do me. That's just how it is. And when you get to that point, when you're doing stuff and you're being authentic with it, a lot of things that other people make a priority, it's not going to be a priority for you. And everybody got different paths. Everybody got different paths that are going on. Everybody going in different directions. Period. That's what it means. That sometimes, people don't look at things the same way. I think it's more important for me to get a message out of there, get out of there, get a message out than it is for me to worry about numbers. Because I know people go back and watch it. I know they will. So that I don't get caught up on that because if I got caught up on that, I would stop doing this show. My Wednesdays and Sundays would not be spent doing these shows if I actually let all of that, be a deterrent for me. It's not. Okay. So I think we have concluded everything we needed to conclude today. But yes, we need to add a vision board on for 2026, right? Be more specific in what you're asking for. And if you already done one, you can email it. You guys have my email address. Email it. I'm on Facebook, so you can catch me on Facebook. Send me download it, upload it, whatever, and send it to me. Let me see what you got already. Right? So we shall return on Wednesday, midweek motivation day. All right. If anything don't happen, I should be here Wednesday. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go because it's already 7 minutes after 8. We did good today. Very good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So thank yourself. Pat yourself on the back if you felt that you learned something from me today. If you're taking heed to anything I've said, pat yourself on the back. All right. And look. I need you to do one more thing. I need you to hug yourself. Let me say that again. I need you to hug yourself. Appreciate yourself. Okay? All right. Good night, you guys. Thank you so much, Miss Dixon. Thank you for each and every one of you guys who are out there, the 9 people that I cannot see. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I very much so appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.